Hi. Yeah, so I find I'm struggling with this whole thing because I really want to share my story and share my experiences with other people and like for myself and for others, I guess. It's just I'm struggling because I know I don't have it all figured out yet.
Hey, welcome. It's B Ricky. Yeah.
Some days are really good and I think I'm doing really well, but other days aren't good and it kind of feels like it's you're back at day 1 again. All the work that you've done feels like it's been undone. and and I struggle on those days just because like I don't want to put out anything that's going to be negative. Not negative, but I mean like something that's going to do harm in any way, like talking about my experience and like it's my personal experience. So like I could be wrong about a lot of things and I probably am wrong about a lot of things and um I mean maybe like I don't want to cause more harm. I mean hello. I'm right in front of the window, so like looking outside, eh? Hi, baby. And like on those days, you kind of like feel like a fraud almost. I don't know. Maybe I just have really bad imposter syndrome or something. But it's like on my bad days, I'm just kind of like, who am I to to talk about mental health when I'm struggling like this, and who am I to say this? And so it makes me like scared to share a bit and like scared to kind of like, oh, look how like I'm doing good or I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and then fall back into it and not do any of those things and then feel like a hypocrite and feel like I lied and feel like I was doing well and then I wasn't. And I don't know, I just struggle with like some days I think I've gotten really far, but other days it feels like I haven't gotten far enough. And that's what I want to do too. Like that's part of kind of what I want to do is show that it's not a linear journey, like you have bad days and you have those days where it feels like you haven't made the progress that you want to make. But then I also feel guilty and ashamed for having those days. I learned this already. How come I can't implement it right now? I know this. How come I'm having this day where it feels like I can't do any of the things I've learned and I can't pull myself out of this? It's my personal experience, so yeah, it's not going to resonate with everyone and it's not going to be right for everyone. And I lost my train of thought. Baby. I don't know, I just kind of like go back and forth a lot, and I don't know if that's me like self sabotaging. When I go to actually do something, then I tell myself, oh, it's not important, or oh, it's like you don't have your shit together enough yet. Like you can't talk about it yet. I just don't want to feel like a fraud. It's like, oh, I had a really good day yesterday, and then I share it or something, and then it's like I had a really bad day today, and it's like, no, now I feel like I lied. Like I don't have this together. Don't have my shit together. Like I can't do this. So I feel like this is all just a mess. This is a mess. I'm a mess. And I'm so disorganized. I feel so disorganized. And just floaty and like I've been feeling really stuck lately and I've kind of talked about that a bit and just like feeling like I can't move and get out of the internal world into my external world. And I'm trying to get me unstuck and feeling like I can sort of move and like I can do things and I can act in my world and be successful, and trying not to let my thoughts and my insecurities, all those, little negative thoughts that come in and talk me out of all doing all these things. I'm trying to really kind of not push them down, but like negotiate with them and talk out of them and just sort of, okay, thank you for your concern. I don't need it right now. And just trying, I don't know, to be present and be a person. And that maybe sounds confusing, but I just feel like I almost haven't been a person and I've just kind of been floating around. I'm trying to ground things and sort of make it, because so much of my life and my world has been very in my head, and like there's a lot going up here and there's not a lot coming out. I'm trying to, kind of get that out in the physical world. That's not really hard. I'm taking baby steps. And easy, birdies. Hey, easy, birdies. I'm trying to get that out in the physical world. That's not really hard. I'm taking baby steps. And see birdies. Hey, easy birdies. I'm trying to get that out in the physical world. That's not really hard. I'm taking baby steps. And see birdies. Hey, easy birdies. I'm trying to get that out in the physical world. That's not really hard. I'm taking baby steps. And see birdies. Hey, easy birdies. And some days I just like, I can't, I have to kind of go with my waves of motivation or my waves of like action, I guess. Because some days it's not as hard to kind of act. Other days it's like I'm frozen and I can't really do anything. But other days it's like, okay, I can do this. Get up, do it. So like last week, I just kind of was like, okay, this needs to stop. Like I don't, depending on what the difficulties I have are, like lots of theories on stuff that are interfering with my ability to get help, and it's kind of like forcing myself through those problems to get the help. And so like on Wednesday I kind of felt like I had a little bit of oomph in me, you know. I don't know where it came from. And then I called my doctor, which took me like 2 hours to even, you know, by just sitting by my phone and staring at it, and came in and called, no I'm not, came in and called, no I'm not. And then not knowing words to say and like fumbling over my words. And then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna call and I don't care how it sounds. I'm just gonna call. I'm just gonna do it and it doesn't matter. So I called and made an appointment with my doctor to just kind of like, I need to get this stuff figured out a little bit more in a professional sense and externally, as opposed to just up here and all my theories and stuff. And I'm really nervous about it. Because again, I'm nervous of being invalidated. I've been invalidated a lot with my mental health, and it's one of my biggest triggers as well. I'm just proud of myself for making that call. And they never answer. So it's like you have to call a bunch of times, you know, which is just perfect for the phone and social anxiety. Love it. Love that for me. But it's getting through, you know, all those walls to get the help that you need. And that's like so friggin' hard. So I was proud of myself that I did that. It was a small thing, but it's also a big thing. I made sure I told myself that I was proud of myself and didn't let myself talk myself out of, well, that's just a phone call. Everyone can make phone calls, and why can't you make phone calls? And look how easy it was, and you freaked out for 2 hours, and it took 2 minutes, and you know, like all those little things that come up, and it's like, why can't you do this? Why aren't you normal? Why, you know, you make such a big deal of nothing, blah blah blah. You know, it's like, it's taking those and being like, okay, cool, thanks, yeah, maybe, but this is what it is for me, and this is my experience, and it's like I have to validate that experience. And you know what, I don't care that, you know, other people can make phone calls like that. It's that easy, and it's that like I can't. And it's something that's really hard for me. So I'm going to validate that for myself, and then I'm going to say, you know what, I made that phone call and I'm proud of myself for doing that, because that was something that's really difficult. I don't care if it's easy for other people. So it was that as well, quelling those thoughts that come, that I love to invalidate myself with and make myself feel stupid for, and give myself that shame for having what I have and dealing with what I deal with. And that's also like just what I'm really trying to stop too, is stopping shaming myself for the problems that I have. Like it's just like that's never gotten me anywhere. It's only dug me deeper. And that's, you know, where I was when I was at my lowest. So it's like I'm not doing that to myself again, and I'm de-identifying with those thoughts. And okay, cool, you know, thanks for your concern. Like when I have those anxiety thoughts, like you're gonna sound stupid, you're gonna like stumble over your words, you probably sounded like an idiot on that phone call, like you don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, cool, thanks for your concern for that, like that I sounded like an idiot and that they might not like me because of that. But that's okay. Like that's fine. Like, and I just being okay with that, de-identifying and taking it from an ego-syntonic voice to more of an ego-dystonic, or one that's external. That it's just like, okay, that's an opinion, that's a thought. That's not. It doesn't have to be my thought. It doesn't have to be my opinion. It's just one, and I don't have to accept it. And just because it's come from my brain and my brain has kind of produced it for me, doesn't mean that I have to accept it, and it doesn't mean that it is mine to hold on to. And so that for a very long time has been a problem for me. These don't have to be my thoughts. I've generated them in a way, but I don't have to identify with them. And so it was a lot of that as well. It's just like, no, I am proud of myself, and not letting myself beat myself up for the stuff that I have problems with, and then how I deal with those problems. And I don't know. So yeah, I'm trying to keep that energy and keep that momentum for myself, continue with that. Some days that's harder. Like the thoughts they do feel more of your own. You do feel low, and you identify with those low thoughts more. That bad self-talk that you experience, you identify with them more on low days. And when you're having better days, it's easier to distance yourself from them, kind of brush them off. And just feeling like sort of I'm having those better days where I am able to slow down and distance myself from that, and from the darker parts of me that want to pull me in. And again, like, I don't want, we talk about mental illness and stuff like that, and these symptoms in such a negative way, in such a bad way, like it's evil, and these are bad thoughts, and it's, you know, the darkness is pulling me in. And like, I do agree with, like, that's how it feels a lot of the time. It's helped me a bit to reframe kind of how I've seen mental illness, just listening to other people as well, and seeing other opinions of mental illness, and sort of the symptoms that you've developed to cope in the world have been adaptive for you, and they've worked for you for some time. The brain and the body is so amazing, like what it does to protect yourself and what it does to have you feel better and not be in pain. And so a lot of mental health symptoms and mental illness symptoms have come from trying to adapt to an external or internal world that you can't handle, or that you can't feel that you can deal with at the time, or any number of reasons why it's not something that the mind or body can handle at that moment. And you deal with these coping mechanisms, whether they are healthy or unhealthy. And a lot of the times in mental health, we talk about the unhealthy coping mechanisms that we come up with, right? Because those are the ones that are distressing and cause the problems with us and other people. But they have also been developed in a way to protect yourself. Your body and your mind has wanted to protect you and keep you safe. I noticed it does help a little bit. And like when I said like, thank you, I don't need that right now. Sometimes I take my anxiety as like messages and little flags of like, this was scary before, you know, like, protect yourself. Don't do it again because it's scary and it's bad. And last time you got hurt. And I take that like message, like, you know, when you're making a phone call, it's like, oh, you're going to sound stupid. You're going to like mess up and they're going to laugh at you and they're going to say this. I take that as like okay, thanks for your concern, because we remember that happened, or like that it would be a painful thing for us if that happened. You don't want me to experience that pain. Thank you, but I don't need that coping mechanism anymore. I don't need that. Like, now it's harming me and it's not helping me anymore. It's not helping me move on with my life, at where a certain point it was helping me, you know, as a kid, or as whenever it kind of, you know, develops. It's like, it's developing as a way to protect yourself. And so it helps to reframe sometimes. Like, you can frame it as like a darkness and a negative thing. You can also frame it as something that's trying to be helpful that may not be being helpful anymore. And I don't know. That's just, it's something that I think is very interesting. And I think like that's what we do as humans, right? We adjust, we learn, we try things, we try it again, we, you know, improve, adapt, overcome, you know, like that's what, as humans, we do that, and our brains and our bodies do that, and it's not always in positive ways. And so I think that's a really interesting topic. Anyways, yeah, and that's completely off topic, but such a nightmare to put all my thoughts together. Everything's so disorganized. Like, I can't. It feels like I'm just like pulling random files, you know? Like, it's like I have a file here and a file here. And it's like, oh, cool. I want to talk about this one, and I want to talk about this one. I want to talk about this one. It's like, I can't. Okay, now we're going to talk this, and then we'll talk about this, and then we'll talk. No, it's like I can't do that. My brain doesn't do that. It's just like, no, I'm excited. I want to talk about this now, and I want to talk about this. And it's just like I'm just pulling these random things off the shelf, these random books, and it's like these random files from my brain that I'm talking about, and I can't like organize them in like a systematic way that makes sense. So this is a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare to edit.
It is.
It's a nightmare to like film and piece my thoughts together. And I'm hoping it's not a nightmare to watch. Anyways, thanks for listening again.